happening, people? We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. We're going to give it a couple of minutes to let the apps do the thing and let them notify some of you lovely people. And then we will crack on with today's episode. A few people jumping on Instagram now. What's happening, team? Someone leave me an emoji, leave me a love heart, let me know that you can hear me and you can see me okay, please. We've got a few people jumping on Facebook now, some on YouTube. What's happening, gang? Cool. I'm going to give it 30 seconds and then we will get rolling with this one. Quite an interesting one, this. And I know a lot of you guys are going to nod your heads at some of the shit that I'm going to say because guaranteed you will have come across these issues before. Cool. Right. If you guys are watching this on the replay on either platform, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, give me a hashtag replay so I know how many people do watch it. Cool. Right. Let's hit record. Let's test it first, actually, to make sure that everything's good, which I think it is. To make sure. Yep, cool. Right. We'll hit record and we will get going. 3, 2, 1. Yes, team, what's happening? I hope you're good and having the best day ever. Welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Movement podcast. And in this episode, just saying to guys on the live then, because by the way, if you don't know, when I do these episodes, I record them live. I go live on Instagram, I go live on Facebook, and I go live on YouTube. So you can always catch the live replays on there as well. But I was just saying there's going to probably be, and same with you guys listening to this as well, a lot of head nods on this one, because guaranteed you will have encountered some of these issues I'm going to talk about if you've been trying to lose fat or gain muscle as a type 1 diabetic. But before we do get into this, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app, as it really does help me reach more type 1 diabetics and positively impact our community. Also, whatever device, as I always say, you're listening to this on, give it a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories and tag me at type1_Tom so I can reach out and say thank you. So you will have to bear with me. There may be a few coughs in this because I'm just coming out the back end of like a shitty cold or man flu, as you could say. I'm still a bit bunged up and that, but we're here anyway. We're showing up and I wanted to do this episode for you guys. Now, right, the issues that you will encounter when trying to lose body fat or gain muscle as a type 1. I've picked the two main ones. There's a few, but these are the two main ones. But first of all, I'm going to tell you these issues and then I'm going to tell you the solutions that I've used myself and that I use with clients. But I want you to understand, first of all, what actually is needed and what is happening when we're wanting to lose fat or to gain lean muscle. So let's take losing body fat. What's needed to lose body fat, whether you're type 1 or you're not, even with fucking animals, yeah? We need to create what's called a caloric deficit. So many coaches and PTs will bang on about this. It's become so renowned, so popular over the last few years. And that's basically eating less than what your body needs, usually anywhere from 300 to 500 calories a day deficit. Your body will then need to tap into fat stores, sometimes muscle stores, depending on the split, but we're not going to get into that, to use that fat as energy, meaning you will lose body fat, yeah? You will lose body fat. That's the only way to lose body fat. You need to eat in a caloric deficit. Yeah, I'm not going to get too scientific on this, but that's the only way. Type 1 or non-type 1, animal, living fucking organism, whatever, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. What about getting lean muscle? Well, you need to be in a slight caloric surplus. You need to be feeding your body more than what it needs to survive. So this is all based off having a maintenance level of calories. So let me give you, I've spoke about this a lot of times in podcasts, but let me give you some numbers just to explain in more depth. Let's say I can maintain my weight on 2,000 calories a day and I want to lose some body fat. I'm probably going to go in and eat 1,500 calories a day. There's a 500 calorie discrepancy. I'll lose body fat. Let's say I'm wanting to gain some lean muscle. I can maintain my body weight on 2,000 calories a day. I will probably try 2,300. I've increased by 300. Also, if you're wanting to gain lean muscle, you need to be weight training at a gym or at home if you've got weights and utilizing progressive overload. That means either more weight, more sets or more reps each week on the given exercise. That's the only way to build muscle. So now you've got a basic understanding, excuse me, on how to lose fat and how to gain muscle. How does that fit in with us as type 1? Right. As I've mentioned, let's take losing body fat for a start. We need to create the calorie deficit. So we go in, I'm eating 1,500 calories a day. I'm going to lose body fat. Might be sweet for a week or two, but then fucking hell, I start having so many lows. I know there's going to be a few head wobbles on this now, and leave me some emoji in the comments if you can understand this. We've wanted to drop body fat. We've created that deficit. Excuse me. I'm having a lot of hypos. Fucking hell. I'm having to eat to sort these hypos out. There's no other way around it. This will happen, guaranteed. It will happen. And I'll tell you how to solve that, not stop it happening, because it will happen. It's a natural occurrence from your body. As we lose fat, as we get smaller, our insulin requirements will decrease. But we only know that from having lows. So I've created this deficit, 1,500 calories a day. I'm sweet for a week or two. I'm losing fat. And all of a sudden, I'll start getting lows of hypos. Fucking hell. I'm having to eat now these calories back. But I end up eating back to maintenance calories or above. So I stop losing body fat because of these lows, right? That's the issue that can happen. That's one of the main issues. And I see this with clients, which I help them with. I see this in Facebook groups. I see this all over the place. Type 1s wanting to lose body fat. They create a calorie deficit, but then they're eating themselves back out of that calorie deficit for having too many hypos. Okay, so how do we solve that? Well, first of all, like I said, this is a natural occurrence from your body because it will happen. As you lose body fat, as you get leaner, as there's less of you, as you get smaller, maybe you're starting to eat better, maybe you're moving more, you will become more insulin sensitive, yeah? So you will have more hypos. That's just feedback from your body saying, hey, the insulin's too much that you're giving me. I need a bit less, so I'm going to have a lot of hypos. That's basically what happens. So how do we solve that? First of all, the main thing that I want you to understand that I get all clients to do is save at least 200 to 300 calories a day for your hypo treatment. So let's say we're on 1,500 calories. I'm going to base my meals around 1,200 calories, and then I'm going to allocate the other 300 to hypo treatments. If I don't have any lows throughout the day, I can eat them back if I want to, or I can keep it as a bigger calorie deficit. It's totally up to you, yeah? That's the first thing. Make sure you're factoring in 200 to 300 calories a day into your daily caloric intake, yeah? Factor in calories for hypo treatments. The next thing is, don't just factor in calories for hypo treatments, have a load of lows, and just keep correcting them. Even though you stay in a deficit, you'll still lose body fat, but you need to be on the ball and willing to make adjustments. Now, the first point of call that we look to make adjustments from when we're in a calorie deficit, when we're losing body fat as type 1s, is our basal rate, is our background insulin. Yeah, that's what will happen, because a little bit scientific now, when we're in a deficit, our liver will start burning through its glucose stores. Your basal insulin, your basal rate, whatever you're on pens or a pump, is responsible for that glucose that your liver pushes out. So if your liver's naturally burning through that because we're losing fat, we're in a deficit, there's not going to be as much glucose being pushed out, which means if you've got a certain amount of basal rate set, you're going to need to lower that. And having hypos is the best way that you're actually going to understand, hey, I need to drop that. So I'd start two main things there to overcome this. One, actually understand that it's normal, it's a natural occurrence. You will experience hypos when you're losing body fat as a type 1, but you need to save yourself 200 to 300 calories a day to use as hypo treatments. But then don't just stay in there using those. Go in, look at your basal rate, and be willing to make some adjustments to stop those lows. As you get deeper into your sort of losing body fat journey, yeah, you will keep needing to adjust your basal insulin. Let me give you an example. Back in 2018, I decided to get as lean as I possibly could. I went over a 24-hour period from 25 units of basal rate insulin, so I'm on a pump, down to 12, just over half, throughout the 24 weeks of me losing body fat. So you need to be on the ball and you need to be willing to look, experience these hypos, and know that you need to make adjustments. That's losing body fat. You will experience hypos. Yeah, that's a normal. It's a fucking given, like I've said. But you need to be saving yourself 200 to 300 calories a day to use as hypo treatments included in that caloric deficit, so you're not knocking yourself out of it. And then you need to be willing to go in, test your basal rate again, because you're probably going to have to reduce that, right? Now, let's look at, on the flip side, someone who's wanting to gain lean muscle, right? So I've decided, I've done my nutrition plan, 2,300 calories a day. So I start eating that. I start eating more food. Excuse me, more food, bigger meals. I increase my fats, I increase my carbs. But man, I'm having a fucking hard time managing my sugar levels now. I'm running high. I'm running high quite a lot, and I'm really struggling with it. So what's going on here? Well, when we're wanting to gain lean muscle, we're basically wanting our bodies to grow tissue. It's growing muscle. This process does take a lot longer than losing body fat, but we're wanting our bodies to grow tissue. Now, what is happening to our bodies when we're constantly running high? Well, our body's starting to eat away at this tissue, right? Eat away at this tissue. So we've got an issue here because I'm wanting to gain lean muscle, but I'm running high all the time because I've increased my food. And because I'm running high, I can't get the nutrients from my blood because it's staying in my blood sugar. Hopefully, this is making sense into my muscles. So my body's just going to start eating away at its muscle and fat, right? Because I'm running high all the time. But that's counterproductive because I'm wanting to actually gain muscle, but my body's eating it because I'm constantly running high. This is one of the main issues we come across with people who want to gain muscle. They increase the calories, they're eating bigger meals, the strength training, they're lifting heavy weights, and this can also, excuse me, cause a spike in levels, yeah? And then they're running high all the time, and they hit a plateau, and they're struggling to gain that lean muscle because the body's just, they're trying to build the muscle, the body's eating away because the blood glucose levels are constantly high. So that's one of the issues that will happen when gaining lean muscle. So how do we solve this? First of all, like I said, that comes back down to basal insulin. I'd run a basal rate test, and I've actually done this myself with clients and see, hey, do I need to increase it? Do I need to increase my basal rate? And then I'd look at testing insulin to carb ratio. So we've got the two things there. We're wanting to lose body fat. We need to create that calorie deficit. We need to save 200 to 300 calories a day to use as hypo treatments. But if we're having more lows, we need to go in. We need to look at probably decreasing your basal insulin, run a test on it. Then flip side, we're wanting to gain lean muscle, but we're eating more, we're running higher, we're lifting weights. That's causing a slight spike in most type 1s as well. We're running high, we're struggling to gain muscle then. So what do we need to do? Again, we need to run a basal rate test. And then I'd look at testing insulin to carb ratio. Guys, this comes down to the basics of managing your diabetes, which you should all be doing anyway. And that's running tests. But they are the two main issues that you will face when wanting to lose body fat or gain lean muscle as a type 1, because guaranteed at some point in your life, you will want to do one of those two things, right? And these issues you're now going to be aware of, and I told you how to solve them. But if you strip it down to the bare bones, it comes down to running a basal rate test and testing your insulin to carb ratio. Excuse me. Even someone that isn't wanting to lose body fat or gain lean muscle and you're struggling with your levels, this comes down to the same thing. Run a basal rate test. You need to understand how to do that and test your insulin to carb ratio. Yeah. Those are the two things. Yeah. That's all I've really got to say on that. But they're the two main issues that there is a few more, but the two main issues you'll encounter when wanting to lose body fat or gain lean muscle as a type 1 and how to overcome them. Trust me, these things are pretty much guaranteed to happen when you're wanting to lose body fat or gain lean muscle. Don't get frustrated with it because it happens. Don't think I'm a type 1. It's much harder. I can't be arsed. Like, it will take time to sort out, but now you understand it. Put the work in. If you're serious about losing body fat or gaining muscle, getting stronger, put the work in, because once you understand how to do it and you've done it, whenever you want to lose fat or gain lean muscle again, you're going to know specifically how to do that. Okay? You're going to know specifically how to do that. Team, that is it. If you got value from this episode, as I said at the start, please leave me a rating and review on the podcast app and give it a screenshot, whatever device, whatever platform you're listening to it on, and share it on your Instagram stories and tag me at type1_Tom. I appreciate you for listening today, wherever you are in the world. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Till the next episode. Peace. Have a good one. Right, I'm going to go through any questions that we do have. Quick look on Facebook. What's happening, Donna? Cool. Quick look for you guys on Instagram. So we've got a question. I've been wanting to check for ages. My bloods have been terrible last 3 to 4 months. It's been a joke sometimes. My Libra. This too isn't right as well. It's stressful. Ideally, I used to be 4 to 8, now 10 plus. Drop me a DM, dude. Drop me a DM and I'll have a chat with you. Cool. Right. Excuse me. Didn't do too bad getting through that without coughing. A few drinks along the way. Right, team. I hope you got value from that. Like I say, any questions on this, feel free to reach out. Drop me a DM. Appreciate you watching today. Until the next live, have a great day. Peace.